right. Well, I'll go ahead and start for today. I'm feeling all right. My top priority for this week is, a couple things on the agenda, but some organizational stuff. Want to help move things forward on the strategic side for comms and just make sure we've got announcements ready to go for this week. And intentions for the call really are to facilitate everything, get through the agenda today. And I don't have any distractions during this call. So I'll pass it to, I think I saw Ashley in here.
Yeah, I'm here. Thanks, Corey. I am feeling okay today, coming back around from feeling really sick yesterday. My top comms priority this week is just to continue this discussion around strategy, subdoffication, and how that affects comms and how I can support with community, this marketing, all these topics about our working groups mostly. And my intentions for this call are just to stream and give any advice or helpful, if I can help in any way, to chime in. And my distractions are just that streaming and give backs. It's time to do give backs, so I'm going to work on that a little bit in the background. And I will pass it to Lauren.
Yeah, my ideas for the week are mostly just Twitter. We've been doing that AI campaign and we're almost done. So finishing out the last videos there and then like making a thread of threads. Also just like kind of coordinating like Twitter stuff and seeing trying to empower Steve some more on the Twitter. And also just like the Cello launch, and I think we can launch it this week, and I'm just trying to just double check in with fundraising again, because I think also we're supposed to be getting some Cello to incentivize projects to add their Cello address. So we might be wanting to do kind of a campaign like the one we're doing for Optimism. And I guess then my other just like interest priority, although probably not something I can put a ton of time into, is like that Optimism campaign. Like how can we get projects to add their Optimism address and use this as a way of onboarding more verified projects? And I will pass it on to Monique.
Hey guys, I'm feeling a little bit sick. Actually, I'm guest here, but related to the comms, I think I have to plan for the new landing page, onboarding landing page. Also, we're gonna add a feature about filtering projects based on the recipient addresses. That's make everything for you guys to start the campaign. And I'm a little bit distracted. I'm gonna go after 3 minutes. And I pass it to Ahmed.
Thanks, Monique. I think something's in the air because I also feel sick. It's crazy. I hope everyone gets well. My comms priority for the week are the number one is the strategy discussion. So taking that forward and seeing what's next for that and the subdoffication. Number two is emails. There's some that we're sending out. There's one for Optimism that we're sending out for the projects. And then there's also new landing pages. So those are like the top 3 things. And let me pass it on to Almond.
Thank you, Ahmad. I'm feeling, I don't know, not very good because I've been experiencing a very, very bad wrist pain. But I'm doing good besides that. And my top comms priority this week and for this call is to align in this optimism campaign that I know some of you are part of. Maybe clarify some things because I'm not sure if it's going to be 25 and or 20 up tokens in reward because I saw both numbers out there. So just align on the details, and then also maybe talk in the possibilities of including Celo, and then have like a stronger campaign joining both rewarding projects. So yeah, that's my top priority for this week, and my intention too, just to clarify a couple of things later on this call. And Suga, I pass it to Suga.
Whoa, did somebody just call me? Whew. All I heard literally was Suga. So I think I've just been nominated to speak. Okay, I just walked in the door. I'm sorry for being late. I'm here for, oh boy. Oh my God. I have a bunch of things happening. Oh yeah, the SEO landing pages. I'm just totally distracted. Violin, la la la, children. I'm gonna catch my breath and pass it on back to Corey. Thank you.
Mackenzie?
Hi everyone. Okay, I'm actually feeling good. I really do not have any distraction right now. So my intention for the call is probably to listen in and see what's going on in the comms call and see if there's anything I could actually contribute to. So yeah, that's why I'm here. Thank you. Passing on back to Corey back.
Thank you. Kotabe.
Yes.
Yes.
Hey, everyone. My intention for the week is to have everything ready for the Aprendamos Refi communications. I'm feeling good. So that's also my top priority comes for the week. And I would just something on like Celo. The Celo incentives are blocked right now because KYC didn't pass, and they need us to have the foundation. So just to get that off the way. Right now we're blocked with that. Hopefully it will unblock on the following weeks, but I don't think that we should spend too much time on that. Distractions, I'm just working a little bit on the background. And I think I'm the last one.
Okay, great. Awesome. Yeah, you are the last one. Just double checking. Okay, cool. Nice. Well, welcome everyone. Yeah, we have a couple of these things already on the agenda, so I don't think there's anything missing here. We'll make sure to cover everything. Cool. So, yeah, actually the top of the agenda before we get into like individual topics and like upcoming launches and campaigns, I added a note here that I wanted to start the call with because we haven't actually had the time to do this yet and just been going through different issues and looking at all the content that we're writing for Twitter or for landing pages and other purposes, and thought it might be really cool to have a ChatGPT comms working session or walkthrough, which could be like interactive, but to go through like some helpful prompts or ways that we could be using ChatGPT to produce comms content, and wanted to gauge interest in that. From the AI April project last month, I played around with this quite a bit to produce some content also from like audio video formats into different pieces, and thought, yeah, it kind of deserves its own call, really, to play around with it and like just riff on it together. So wanted to check, see, would you guys be interested in setting up something like that if I schedule it? This is for content creators.
Sure.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea.
Okay, cool. So I'm going to set up a doodle for it and schedule something as soon as possible, really, that works for all of us. Because, yeah, we could be using this like every day right now. So
Could I just ask a quick question about the new fellow Carlos? If we are supposed to be working with him, and or when will we see him, and or what's his GitHub handle? Like, should we be tagging him and stuff?
Yeah. Sorry, Lauren, really quick, just because I talked with him really very recently. I'm going to be his buddy, and he told me that he's right now off because he's at ETH Lisbon contributing or something. And then I think that he has also some personal things happening. So last week, he told me that he will be back around in 20 days. So that was last, let's say, Tuesday. So it's less than 20 days now. So I think that we can figure those things when he's back. And then Lauren, sorry, you have more things to add.
That's great, Amit. Yeah, and I would say you can tag him on GitHub. I did add him already as a contributor. So he's at Carlos Melgar, I think, is his handle. And just like FYI, just to get him started on a couple of small things, I got him to write a few tweets for the AI April campaign. Just like he wrote like 2 or 3 tweets. But as Almond said, he's like not doing too much yet. But I think when he joins our calls, we can start, coordinating with him as a resource.
Yeah, I'm been also in touch with him, trying to get a one-on-one scheduled to meet him and see what's going on with Carlos. So yeah, I guess it sounds like we'll have more of Carlos in a couple of weeks. Cool. Any other questions? That was just like a side related question, I guess. That topic question? Okay.
Didn't really seem like an agenda. Like, I didn't want to add it on. I just thought I'd ask it real quick. So thanks.
Okay. Cool. All right. Well, yeah, then the next item that we have on the agenda is the Aprendamos Refi podcast launch. And we were just touching on this in the Communitas call a bit, but it's pretty heavy on the comm side now. So just wanted to put it on the agenda for sure, since that's a launch coming up really soon. Kotabe, wanted to give you space. I'm going to just let this like epic load for a second.
Yeah. Well, I created a bunch of issues for the communications. Twitter thread, LinkedIn post, or LinkedIn/Facebook post, a DM for anyone that wants to pass it along in their own networks. I am working on a video teaser before launching the whole season, and a press release. So thanks, Corey, for already reviewing the Twitter and the LinkedIn post. I just had the questions, like, since this is for the Spanish-speaking community, I started for example, for the Twitter and also for the LinkedIn, like, this is for our Spanish-speaking community. And then I did the post in Spanish. Just wanted to make sure that there was no surprise there, or that it felt good for people. If you think that it should be changed, open. So yeah. I think that's mostly where we are. The things that I have still pending to do is a little bit more of the outreach to launch partners and supporters. I already have the doc, but I want to have more specific emails towards to send them the press release, and so on and so forth.
Just a quick question, Kotabe, because I'm looking like these are all just a new issue status. Like, are some of these things already prepared? Is that what you're saying?
Yes. I can have them on the QA. Yeah, put them on the QA list.
Yeah, please do that, because it's really confusing. It looks like they all have just been created. Like, I found these yesterday, right? But Yeah, it's super hard to tell this way if anything has been started. So yeah, that would help a lot. It seems like you've got a lot of drafts in here. So do these all need review right now?
Yeah, I mean, not everything is like to be sent. For example, like for the launch document for partners and supporters, I send it to our Spanish-speaking contributors to say like, hey, do you have any other community or people that we should add as launching partners and supporters to this list? And I already tag them. So I don't know. Should those be passed also to Q&A?
Yeah. Which?
So, for example, like the launch partners and supporters doc, it's basically a spreadsheet. It's not something that is public or going to be sent, but it's something where I ask for feedback for adding maybe more groups and communities for like from the Spanish speaking community.
Yeah, cool. I mean, yeah, it's just that if issues are not moving out of that new issue status at all, like it's just, yeah, they should definitely be going through a flow on GitHub. So
okay.
At least like this one, people were tagged on, but other issues, if you post a doc and don't tag anyone and leave the issue sitting under new issues, like I'm not really sure how I would just have to luck out to find it. Versus people being signaled to review it. And also like I'm scanning the review QA and the in progress columns all the time. So like that's basically how we're using the board, or how I use the board at least. So yeah, you could put it in progress, you could put it in review QA just to get quick feedback if you're tagging people, but like you definitely want to move it out of the new issue.
Yeah.
Status.
Okay.
Yeah.
Definitely. Okay. I'm doing it right now.
Okay, cool. Thanks. So then in terms of selecting like a date, like a launch date for this, we were just talking about that in the last call. Since it seems like all of this will still need a bit of like final reviewing and revision, like did we want to then solidify a date for next week for this podcast launch? Like we were riffing on like Monday.
Yeah, I think that feels good. Next Monday.
Okay. Does that coincide with any, or does that clash with any other launches? I don't think so. And we're talking about moving Cello out a bit, but obviously that's dynamic. So just want to check in with everyone else that Monday sounds good for a podcast, for this podcast launch, because we have Friday, I guess, for the other podcast announcements.
Yeah, it sounds good to me.
Okay, that's what's the date of that's 19th, 22nd, right?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, so you said that you need more. So which, like, I guess all of these we want to just go through. So which ones were you specifically saying you need immediate attention on? It's like emails, and was there anything else specifically to highlight?
Emails, LinkedIn post, and Twitter thread. I think those are the ones.
DM copy is referring to what exactly?
If someone wants to share it like a direct, it's like a very simple direct message that they can just like modify just a bit, and that's it.
Okay. Do you have sorry, I lost it again. Do you have an issue here for just the emails?
I don't, but I think that we can use the same one that we use. That is for like the. Maybe the press release modified. I can make an issue for the emails. for the email.
Okay. All right, cool. Well then, yeah, we'll just want to make sure that we get the rest of that copy reviewed and then the email set up for this week to go out. So that seems fine. And do you need any support regarding like the video teaser and that type of content?
I don't want to. I have the content. I just will need to make like very quick edit, and I don't want to put it kind of like this burden on anyone else. I think I can handle it.
Okay. All right. All right. Well, let us know. Let us know what you need on this. Also, be going through these issues and just making sure we get final reviews. This content is in Spanish, so I did some initial reviews yesterday. I'm like relatively good at reading Spanish, and like I can see like how things are structured and all of that. But definitely, yeah, need some native Spanish eyes on this stuff. So okay, cool. Thanks for preparing this so well, Kotabe. I really like how you use the Epic. It's awesome.
Thanks,
Just
Corey.
yeah,
Thanks
if we have the issues in the right status, then it's perfect.
Yes.
Okay, cool. All right, awesome. So then May 22nd, actually we'll update this as well. So it's clear with the date for launch. Great. Yeah, then are we good with that? We can move on to the next topic on the agenda. That would be the optimism campaign. I wanted to make sure to hold some space for this. Almond, you also said that you're looking to clarify a couple of details here. So I see that we have a lot of progress here. I can open up the doc. But I mean, first and foremost, I was always under the impression this was 25 optimism tokens that would be rewarded to people.
Yeah, that's just because I found a reply that mentioned to Urbanica that it was 20 tokens. So maybe it was just like the time to figure out, but the last number is 25. And then also more of a question for Lauren. I saw the other epic in which the discussion more regarding how are we going to register the projects and stuff. I think that the verification requirement is out, right? It's not that these needs to be added in applied only to verified projects, but to everyone. Just I have those two questions.
Sorry, I was distracted. What was your question?
Yeah, the final number of rewards of Celo tokens. I was telling Corey that I saw one reply to Urbanica mentioning that the reward was going to be 20, but maybe the final number is 25, and the other is, I think we cut off the requirement of being verified, right?
No. You have to be verified. You have to be verified, and it should be 25. I think I made a mistake at some point saying it was 20, but we got $16,000 to go to 640 projects, so it's 25 per project.
Oh, so they should be verified. That was my other question, because I think in the issue I didn't saw that, but then in the other issue, talking more about like with the technical part of this reward would say that they should be verified. Okay.
Yeah, verified. Sorry.
No, it's fine. Okay. Then Ahmad already created an email. I think that we just need to add the part of the verification. And also there's two tweets. One that's targeted to the people that already have a Giveth project, and the other tweet talks more to people that's not in Giveth. So I don't know, maybe should we just like talk about this Zello thing happening at the same time, if this should be integrated in a way, or we should just be focused in optimism?
Well, we
Just to-
shouldn't do the Zello thing because, I mean, we may or may not get the funding for it with all these issues with the KYC. I think we should announce Zello this week, despite the fact that we haven't gotten the incentives. But anyway, I'm debating it right now in the open chat here with Monique. And then we should do the campaign like mostly focused on optimism, because they already gave us $16,000 for it. I think the reward for Zello will be a lot less, but we can kind of like, if we get that money, we can add it in at some point later with any stuff that we're doing at that point.
Great. That's very good to know. Thank you. Okay, perfect. Then I think that we have the email. We have a couple of tweets to review. And then Corey also made this spreadsheet with projects that are non-Web3 to reach out to. And then I was just wanted to ask, Otave, you mentioned the solar punk yield. Are you willing to help us too, especially reaching out with the projects that are on Gitcoin but are not on Giveth as well? Do you have capacity? What are your thoughts on that?
Kotabe?
Oh, I mute myself instead of unmuting. Sorry. Thanks. Yeah, I can help with the Solarpunk yield, and I can take on a couple of hours. I am, or maybe a couple of hours for this. So I can help with that. Much more than that, I think it might be challenging. I'm focusing more on fundraising. But yeah, that's how I can help.
Cool. Then maybe I can just follow up with you in order to make sure that we are keeping an eye on that. Thank you so much. And then I would like to align with Elgene and ask her help in just going through different servers and mention these. I've seen her doing this, so I think that she will be great to help in that. And also she was asking if there was something that she could help with in comms, so I think it's perfect. And then the last part that I wanted to ask is regarding a Twitter space that I think is a great idea to just talk about like the benefits of adding Zello in your wallet and kind of like empowering and giving more information around why you should do that. I saw this Twitter space that happened recently in which Griff was invited with some of the Zello peeps. Maybe this is an obvious question, but just wanting to make sure. We would like to have someone from Zello in that Twitter space, right? In order to have, like, let's say, like an official representative for the Twitter space, in order to be, like, I don't know, more official.
Optimism, not Zello, right?
Oh, optimism.
Right.
I see Zello. Sorry, I have my cables crossed. No, optimism. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that would be great. I wonder, maybe, Tavi, do you know who's our contact for Optimism that we're using to coordinate the grants?
Well, I saw in this Twitter space, I saw Benji X as one of like the Optimism representatives that was there. So I was going to reach out to him as like the Optimism representative. Do you know him? It's this guy. Let me show you. Here, but if you have a better option, I would love the suggestions to have at least one Optimism person there. Optimism.
Yeah, I don't actually know who from Optimism, so I think we should just, as long as we have a point of contact to reach out to, also maybe they have someone they'd want to ideally suggest for the Twitter
right.
space.
I think so. Yeah, okay. So I'm going to reach out to Benji, which already participated with Griff, speaking about optimism and stuff. So he can just give us some light around that. Okay. And yeah, I think that was the things that I wanted to just make sure and align. And I don't know, Corey, if you want to mention something regarding the non-Web3 projects. Reach out.
Yeah. Yes, basically I started doing some research around this. Some kind of just was going across LinkedIn and searching for specific keywords to find posts around organizations that may have already had a touch point. So they're not in Web3, but they may have had some sort of interaction with Web3, because I just feel like that's a hotter lead to start with. And found some stuff here. Some of them are pretty big organizations like Mercy Corps. Some of them are smaller, but wanted to see, like, especially from people involved with the projects and verification process and this kind of thing, maybe you have other ideas around how to research for project to do cold outreach to. It's a bit of a, like reaching out, first off, like it's a bit of an onboarding funnel, I would guess. And then it's also like, even like saying like, we have tokens for you can, in my opinion, come across a little bit weird on the internet. Like, I don't know, could seem a little scammy. So I think it really depends on like how that messaging is done. And that's why I kind of like the idea of reaching out to organizations that have like know what Web3 is and maybe just aren't using it a lot. So for example, these are just orgs that have received something maybe in the past from some sort of NFT project or something else in Web3. So they might be more open to a message like that. But just wanted to get some quick thoughts on that, like what other people think, because I'd like to build this list out further. But how would you choose cool projects for us to reach out to with the optimism offer?
I think that angle that you're using to just get some organizations work, I think that's a great strategy. Part of the idea with this optimism thing, as you know, was trying to get people with the incentive of instant money, right? But also at the same time with the ambassador, we've been experienced the challenge, like the huge challenge that really is onboard non-Web3 projects to Web3. So we know that this is like a really tough, titanic action. So I'll say that if we can start with these lists, I think is great. And maybe just, as you were mentioning, reach out through Facebook and LinkedIn, maybe something that we can help you draft a message and then see the response. But with the experience that we had in Comunitas and the ambassador program, we know that this is really hard. So I think that we should have that in mind when reaching out to them.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm thinking because it's optimism, it might make more sense just to stick to Web3 projects. Maybe ones that raise funds on Gitcoin, or like ones that received from like the retroactive public goods funding, maybe. Like make sure that we exhaust that list first. I mean, if we had to choose, I mean.
Do we have access to that list? I think so, right?
I think we did extract it somewhere. Jake, I think, was looking at it, and he reached out to most of the projects, like to work with us. So I think we have the list somewhere. Yeah. I can check.
I mean,
with Jake.
We're essentially talking about this component here, right? The outreach to projects from Gitcoin Beta.
Yeah, or the Optimism funding projects, like the ones that got funding from Optimism.
Either way, I think both are good targets. I agree with you, Ahmad. I think that with our past experience of reaching out to non-Web3, it's not. we would love to be the Giveth target, but it's not really the Giveth target. I think that in this specific case, as you mentioned, it would be more attractive to these both Gitcoin and Red Republic funding thing. So
yeah, like I think it's just a harder sell. I mean, if it was like a fiat bonus or something, then yeah, like I think that makes total sense. But it's like a layer 2 and it's on Optimism. I don't know, like it just seems like it's a big leap to get like a non-crypto project to do it, you know, within a few weeks.
I 100% agree. I have pretty low levels of confidence that this will amount to anything in terms of just reaching out cold to non-Web3 projects with this offer, because it's too many steps in between from an onboarding perspective. So but we can, if it's done in a low effort, like low time consuming way, as in we generate a draft and we're just cold sending it out to some people that we've pre-researched in this way, like, okay, at least they'll understand what Web3 even is, and they've gotten money from it before, so it might be interesting to them. But otherwise, I like the idea of like targeting retroactive funding from Optimism, like list of projects, because they're probably much more likely to jump on it quickly. This just seems like a lot of effort, but it would, they're big orgs. I don't know if there's any kind of bite back, it would be interesting. So.
Yeah, it might be worth just doing like a low effort draft, like you said, but yeah, it's really it's really difficult and pretty discouraging. I'm curious, Alman, when you guys went to the Panvala town hall, do you think that there are some Panvala communities that might be interested and we could maybe like onboard through Panvala as well with this offer?
Yeah, we have, I think, in the document of the communities to reach out, we have Pambala included because, yeah, they're exactly a community that will be interested of sharing this info. So yeah, Ash, that's a good catch. He's there.
Okay, so just to summarize, like what we're going for now, right? Do we want to add here to the list then targeting projects that have received Optimism funding?
Yeah, I will add that too.
Okay, I can write it here if you like target.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, so you don't have to type.
And yeah, I mean, one thing I also want to ask, is there like a deadline for this, or is just whenever we reach the limit of projects that get the funding? Like when we hit the number?
Yeah, there's no deadline, just whenever we reach it. But it would be awesome, like, Optimism is giving a lot of funding for all this like retroactive stuff and a lot of grants and stuff like that. So if we're building and doing things on Optimism, we have like, look, we onboarded 640 projects that are like now raising funds and have an Optimism address. I think that looks really good for for like what we're doing, and also increases our chances of getting more funding from Optimism in the future. So like, it's great to put a bunch of effort into making it happen sooner, even though there is no deadline. We don't have to reach that cap.
And like, is there a difference if they already were on Optimism, or like it doesn't matter, like they wouldn't care?
I don't know. Not really for us. Like, we just want to have the project onboarded to Giveth and raising funds. Before, Optimism didn't have a donation platform. So like, yeah, they're starting to run like Gitcoin grants on Optimism, but Optimism doesn't have like a continuous funding donation platform. So it's like being like, yeah, we've got like these verified nonprofit projects raising funds on Optimism through our platform.
And also something that I noticed, and this is something that I wanted to bring to the table, from the technical part of adding Optimism to the platform, we received 2 feedbacks. One saying, and this is something that I shared with Mitch, but I think that was not like the correct channel, but she was saying if there was a filter in Giveth in which she could just like click and then found the projects that are receiving funds in donations in Optimism, because she could not find.
We're already adding it, Almond. The devs are
perfect. Perfect. And the second part, and maybe this is just going to reveal how non-technical I am, but I was really struggling on how to donate using Optimism, and then it was just a matter of me changing my thing to my wallet to Optimism Network, and then that was it. But I think that I struggled like a couple of times. I didn't know how to actually do it. So do we have some documentation or information on how to actually donate, which I know is just a matter of changing your address to Optimism, but maybe it would be good for us to have it somewhere. Maybe it exists, but I didn't find it.
No, I think that's a good point. I mean, also, I was thinking like not all wallets are compatible with Optimism, or like there's not like an easy way for them to get the funds. And if they use MetaMask, it's fine. But if they use like a weird wallet, or like they have like a different wallet, then yeah, like they might not even be able to access the funds on Optimism. So like that's also something we should mention, maybe maybe in the docs or something.
Yeah, the doc seems like a good place for that.
Yeah, I think there might already be, maybe not, but we should check if there's, or maybe Corey, you can check in the planning board if there's already an issue for adding Optimism donations to our docs, and then like maybe Franco can put it on. I think I remember seeing something, but there's also a bunch of documentation issues open, so I'm not sure.
Yeah. Okay. But it's a good point. To just make sure, yeah, we could mention that also in the docs that we're, maybe we need to add a couple more onboarding points to it. Yeah. But okay, cool. Yeah, and then last thing is like just in the doc, we are referencing May 15th as kickoff. Was that, do you mean that as kickoff just for like internal organization, or like kickoff in terms of outreach? Or do we need to update this?
Sorry, maybe I need to be more specific the next time. No, just internally, like kick off the work internally. So yeah, we're good with that because we were already on that. So, but now we need to like schedule the launch of the campaign. But yeah, it was just internal kickoff.
Okay. All right, cool. All right, great. Then I think we seem to be pretty squared away. Is there anything else here?
No, I think we covered everything. I really with Ahmad on that it would be more if target Web3 people that maybe is looking. So yeah, that was great. Yeah.
In terms of that part, that's the only thing that just needs ownership, right? Like running a list of getting this list of who's received retroactive funding from Optimism. Is that something simple to pull from somewhere?
Yeah, like I said, we have that already, so I'll coordinate with Tom and the.
Okay, do you think that you could take ownership in that, Corey, or it would be help with that?
In terms of the reach out, or in terms of which part?
in terms of the reach out, as Corey was already doing the outreach with non-Web3, do you have capacity to take also that, or maybe you want?
Yeah, like drafting a message and making sure, and reaching out. That's fine. I do think this is going to be a lot more effective than reaching out to non-Web3 projects. So I'd much rather put the effort into that. So yeah, it's just for me, it's a question of like, where do we get this list and everything? So I can create an issue around that and just want to get, if someone could help me grab that list, that would be an awesome start.
Perfect. Thanks.
Okay, cool. Then we have a couple more things on the agenda. I just want to make sure to get through with the time that we have left. Yeah, we just touched on the Cello announcement. But if we don't have confirmation from the funding team, I don't see how it makes sense to actually put the announcement out before
We already got the funding for the grant. The only funding, I was chatting with this in the chat with Monique and Kadavi. We got the funding for the grant, just we're missing the funding for like incentivizing projects to add their Cello address, which is like, maybe we'll get it, maybe we won't get it, but we already got paid to do the work of adding the Cello integration. And it's extremely awkward to be like trying to direct people to add their Optimism address and then just pretend that the add your Cello address isn't there. That's, when we announced Optimism, I had this experience. It's been up on the DApp for like a month, and I feel like we should just announce it and stop being blocked by something that doesn't need to be a blocker.
Okay. Yeah, that's fine. Okay, so, and we have that announcement basically prepped and ready to go. Is there a specific date that you'd prefer to have it go out this week, just so we can mark that?
I think we can put it out tomorrow. I don't have like any tweets scheduled, so I need to like fill the calendar. And unless there's any objections to doing it tomorrow, I would like to do it tomorrow.
That sounds good.
Yay, let's get it done.
Okay, cool. Sweet. Well, that's an easy one. And then, yeah, we'll see if they come through with funding for incentivization. We can always just announce that then, So, yeah. Next thing is just a quick check-in regarding updates for the homepage for June. Just wanted to get a quick feedback on the topics, because we do have all these things going on, and was just before creating content, like actually outlining all the content and graphics around this. What are the things we would really want to highlight on the homepage for the month of June? And so was outlining already like things like Optimism is now a chain on Giveth, Cello is now a chain on Giveth. These also don't necessarily have to be listed first or right next to each other, but that's two. And also then I know we have like the GM season 2 that has launched, that would be possible to promote. And also then we have like the Refi podcast launch, but yeah, we have like 2 chains and 2 podcasts. So I'm not sure, what everyone else thinks, but I wanted to get quick feedback on that. And then there's also the possibility to keep promoting some of the things so they're up there for more than just a month, like the ambassador program, for example. But wanted to see if there's any strong opinions on this.
Yeah, I would love to have the ambassador program one more, if possible.
Yeah, I think ambassador program's great. We could also consider keeping the PFP collection there as well. We should remove the referral program until it's improved. And then if we wanted to add something else, we could add the AI April campaign. There was like Amin and I put a lot of work into all these videos and tweets, and then we'll put like kind of one more tweet that's linking to all of them. So that could be an option where it's like our AI April campaign, check out what Giveth Galaxy contributors like added, but maybe not. I think it would be an okay idea if it works in the balance and isn't too many.
Okay, in terms of like also weight on these 2 podcasts, are there any thoughts around that? Okay, because I personally like promoting those 2. I think like we could get a lot more eyes on our podcast, and then we have this new one actually launching. And then we usually do show the chains like in previous months we've done that. So, okay, cool.
But are you trying to keep it to 4? Or, I mean, I think it's great. Yeah.
It could be, I think 5 is fine. I've always said it's kind of like optional, but I think 5 is fine. I think after that, it gets to be a bit much. So.
Yeah, I think there's no technical limit. I think we could add a lot if we wanted to, but it's like a pleasantness limit.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, and maybe leading with the GM season 2 first, because it's like then you have some more technical updates, but leading maybe with the podcast first, and then leading with and then having the chains, and then the ambassador program, or we can or ambassador program before that. The PFP collection has been up for 3 months now, so that was the idea, is like kind of switch it out a bit, but we can always circulate these things back through as well, so if needed. All right, great. Thanks. Any other strong feedback on that? Otherwise, we'll move on from this. Okay, cool. So be writing some copy for that. And yeah, and then one of the next things on the agenda was just, there was obviously a lot of discussion around strategy last week, and was thinking that it would make a lot of sense to have a separate call for this. Doesn't need to be, the cadence of it is something that we could still determine, but having really a call where we can just dig into strategy. Ahmad and I have been having this call weekly the last few weeks, but I wanted to set up a doodle for a more regular time where others can join if they'd like, and to walk through like more of the specifics of what was talked about last week, like outlining like goals and lots of other things, right? So are there any thoughts around that? I selected like an hour call and created some slots for this week. And my thought would be to have it run weekly, but temporarily, just so we can make some fast progress on it. But yeah, wanted to see what consensus is on that. And just to clarify, this has to do with like the whole sub-DAOification process, talking about setting up comms as a chapter, and talking about like the process of changing our scope or adjusting our scope to the resources we have available, and talking about growth strategy. So kind of, it's a collection of things.
Yeah, I'd be interested in joining. I'll fill out the doodle.
Yeah, I'm interested. The times are a bit rough.
I can add some more times in. I was trying to keep them inclusive for Central American time zone and European. You know how that goes. So it kind of depends also who wants to join. Trying to copy this link. Yeah, so I'll just put it here as a doodle link. And yeah, that's to follow up on that. One of the steps that we're starting to work on, as mentioned last week, is like going through the existing activities and trying to put numbers behind like how much time is spent on things, so we can make a decision on what we want to keep or cut down. And would love some input on this, on some of these things like podcast and the AMAs, and there's a few things here that cross over, like Meet the Makers with the Communitas working group. So if you feel like you have a good sense of the amount of hours that are spent on this per month, we're trying to like complete filling out this list. And also been like looking at like the new things that we would potentially like start or scale up. So we have this running list, and that's something we would look at more in the meeting. But in the meantime, would love some collaborative effort on like trying to fill this out, because I don't have personally like the oversight into the amount of hours that are going into these podcasts, for example. So it would be really helpful so we can move forward with this analysis. And yeah, and then one thing, maybe we'll need to talk about that in the next meeting, but one thing that's been clear that we'd like to put some effort into, I think, would be like onboarding and activation events, which could be in real life, but they also could be digital versions like webinars, which might be more realistic to start with. But that would be something really interesting, I think, to talk about sooner than later, that we could be putting some effort into kicking off. And Lastly, I will be using Notion. So I saw from the notes last week, since I couldn't join the call, that there was discussion around like central, like it would be great to have a place where we like centrally organize and coordinate. And to me, Notion seems like the most obvious place, but does everyone else feel good about that in terms of outlining strategy and roadmap? Okay, cool. Yeah, so just a couple quick updates on that because we're at the top of the hour. But yeah, fill in the doodle if you'd like to join, and please give your input on the sheet if you're related to those projects, if you have some oversight there. And yeah, and we'll keep plugging along with getting this process going. And then finally, I just had a quick note for SEO. Suga, thank you so much for drafting some landing pages this week. In addition, I've been spending time reviewing as well, all that stuff. And then the next stage would really be to get these landing pages going with the dev team. So just wanted to flag that hopefully, like, my goal would be that we get the landing pages that are in review status right now, that we get them like done this week from a comms perspective, and get them to the dev team to actually like put them up.
Yeah, could we just say, maybe if Ahmad, you get a chance to look at those, because we just had Corey and I, it would be great to get your kind of technical perspective on it, because they can run longer or shorter. So it'd be great to see what your feedback might be on some of the comments that are still sitting in there.
Yeah, sure.
Thank you.
Have a look at them. Awesome. Yeah, sure.
Okay, cool. That's it. That's the end of the agenda and the end of the hour. So yeah, I will call this meeting, and thanks so much for being here today and for your input. And let me know if you need anything.
Thanks, Corey.
Thanks, Corey.
Bye, everybody.